All right, everybody, welcome to the first ever Crystalline podcast. Thank you for all watching. We got a bunch of great guests here. Simon, Jeremy, Nate, and myself, Carter.
We all come from different backgrounds, but all have worked together in e-commerce for quite a while and kind of learned some stuff over the past couple years of just being in business in general. So with that being said, we're just gonna get started talking, asking some questions, stuff like that. So Carter, the main topic of this podcast is kind of, about doing something different in life and like try a different route or do something different, but not knowing what to do. What kind of advice or topic or thing would you like to start off kind of talking about?
Doing something different, not working a traditional job, like building a company, doing something like that is, very cool. I wouldn't say out of the ordinary, but it's something that not everybody gets to do. Even when you're starting a new business, when you're starting something new, it can be a little scary, can be a little nerve-wracking. Like when I first got on the Crystalline with Jeremy, I quit my job and it was, a little hard at first for me because I didn't know what to expect. It was a big lifestyle change of doing something different, and that's kind of the step you got to take. It's a little nerve-wracking at first, but it turned out to be great, and I love working with this group of guys. That's what I have to say. So
I think it'll obviously keep getting more popular too, because right now there's so many kids that want to get into it and their parents don't understand much about e-commerce, online business, starting something. I talk to a lot of kids every day and they want to do something within e-commerce, but when they go take it to their parents and they ask their parents, can I do this? Can I, invest in myself and try something different? Oftentimes the parents just don't really understand it and they end up shutting it down. And it's something I try to get across to all the kids. Like there's 14-year-old kids that want to start learning about this stuff. Like they're freshmen in high school. It could be the most valuable information that they learn over the next 8 years through high school and if they go to college, but they're almost turned away from it because of the people who are giving them the opinions that just don't make sense for everybody. Not everybody wants to have a 9-to-5, and I think a lot of the older generation, that's just what they're used to. And so I think one thing that we could hit on is like change the game in a way that like it becomes more popular for younger kids to be able to get into. It could change all of their lives for so much longer than they even realize. I mean, there's a 15-year-old kid in the company doing $10,000 a month. That doesn't happen if his parents don't let him try.
I think it really starts with, changing like education and like kind of what we're all working on at Crystalline, and all of us together are working on is, building something that changes that school system at an early age, or change that way of learning, makes it more mainstream. Because I feel like one of the biggest things is what you were saying with like parents and stuff like that. Like they don't necessarily, tell their kids to do this or, want their kids to do something different, because not out of, they don't want their kids to be successful, but because they're actually scared of those routes, because it's like, oh, it's not really a route, it's just like this like make-believe type of thing. And so they're like nervous about their kids going and trying something because they don't want their kid to fail, right? And because nobody wants to see their kid fail and be sad. So it's not like necessarily the parents' problem, and that's why I believe it's like doing the like school, like kind of what you were talking about, changing, making it more mainstream and bringing in, learning about e-commerce and all these other routes at a like younger age, and making it more of a mainstream route that people feel is, something they could actually viably take, and not just something that's like this make-believe sort of thing. I think like that's one of the biggest things to tag on top of that too, is that changing the education system would be good, and keeping the current one as well, but just adding another route.
A lot of it too is like the fear of the unknown for people. And same situation with me, ended up dropping out of college, dropping out of school to do this, full-time work with Crystalline. But what's funny is going along with the parents thing, I think that's a big reason why people get held back. But my parents didn't understand it at all. Funny thing is my mom's now on social media with her business. At first it was just word of mouth. She has a woodworking company and she was just doing it that way. Now she's like banging out Instagram reels, she's doing TikTok, she's getting like hella views. Now she's getting orders from other countries. Before it was just the city. If your parents don't understand, maybe take the leap on your own. That's what we're trying to do here, is just make it more public, so it's easier for people.
I mean, my parents were thinking the same thing at first, just because they didn't really know this type of business, right? They grew up in the 1980s, 90s, where internet wasn't as big. There wasn't like opportunities like this out here. So, and you can't blame them for that. It's not that they don't support you, kind of like Jeremy said, just that they just don't know this business model or don't know what it is exactly that you're getting into. So if you kind of explain to them what it is and how it works nowadays, I mean, they're going to be fully accepting, because at the end of the day, they just want to see you succeed and really work hard. I mean, that's what my parents always said. We just want to see you work hard and stay consistent at something and drive for that success and have a good attitude. And that's really what it is. And ultimately, at the end of the day, as long as you're striving for success and working hard and staying consistent, you're going to end up at the place you want to be. be. So that's what I think. I mean, wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, so I think a big thing that I want to talk about as well is, because this is something that I feel like I really lacked out on when I first started in business, and when I first started really making money and doing this sort of stuff, or something that I didn't really value as much as I should have back then. And it's just because when you're a beginner, so many things are new. It's like, you tack on these extra things, and you can only take so many extra things before, the straw breaks the camel's back and you don't get anything done, right? So when you're a beginner, you have to focus on a lot of little things. But I feel like one thing that needs to be more focused on by beginners getting into this stuff as well is quality of your product, and actually believing in what you sell, actually believing in what you do, and actually have passion with what you do. I feel like a lot of people, just try to do drop shipping to run a bag real quick, or try to do, crypto or real estate or whatever it is. People, will hop around with a million side hustles in a year. We all know that dude who has a million different side hustles, and they're all, just never getting off the ground because there's so many going on. How important it is to just find one thing you truly believe in and go all in on that. I want to touch on that and kind of get opinions from everybody on that if anybody wants to pop in, but kind of just actually being passionate, and how important it is to actually sell or give off or give out a product that you actually believe in.
I think it's absolutely crazy that in my situation it's different than theirs. I just got a degree with business management. I took 4 years of business classes, management classes, marketing classes, finance classes, all that, and there's not one class in college that teaches you about starting your own business. It's all about just becoming a good employee and learning how to climb the ranks in someone else's company. And like he hit on, you don't get to build your passion through that. You're just helping someone else's dream come true when you do that. And some people are okay with that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's obviously, it can be more stable, and you can have your job, you go to work and you come home, and that's it. They should, at least, I think more places should teach more opportunities. I mean, I didn't learn one thing about e-commerce in any of my business classes, which is crazy, because you get more opportunities from starting. Even if you don't take it far, you learn so many skills that can bleed right into so many other types of business. So there's so many business models within e-commerce, even affiliate marketing, obviously drop shipping and stuff, that you can learn, and those skills help you with so much other stuff. There's so many jobs out there that seem unorthodox to people now, but are going to become way more mainstream, because that's the way that content is made, and content is important for any business. You can find a position for yourself based on learning a skill that other people don't have. If you learn a skill that other people don't know, you'll be able to find a position in any company that you want, because you're going to be able to provide something that other people weren't able to be taught.
And I want to touch on one topic that Simon and Jeremy were really just talking about truly finding your passion and what it is you want to do, and how that's going to drive you to see the success you want to see and really make your life worth living. A lot of people watching this are probably I'm not sure what my passion is, or I'm not sure what I'm put on this earth to do quite yet. How do I find that? I know you guys are talking about, your passion driving you, and how that is more than just money, and you may not know what your passion is quite yet, and that's totally fine. But how you find that is just by taking action, just trying a bunch of different things and just going hard, because before you know it, you might be starting a business, trying something different, then you meet this guy that knows this guy that knows this other guy, and he does something that you really like, and that's how you find your passion. So just by going hard, meeting people, trying different businesses, trying different things is really how you find your passion, and what you want to do is just by experience. So if you don't know exactly what your true passion is and why you're on this earth or whatever, that's totally okay. You just have to go hard until you find that, and then once you do, you're going to be able to, nothing's going to stop you at that point, because you're going to be going behind your true passion. That's what I would like to say, because I know they were talking a lot about your passion and all that stuff, and like I said, some people don't know what that is, and that's exactly how you really get there.
I can add on to that, because for me, my entire life, my whole passion was hockey, and my main goal my entire life was to make it to the NHL. I never created a plan B, because I didn't want my plan B to have to come true. People would always tell me, what are you going to do if you don't make it? And I always just thought, I'll just figure it out when I get there. But I'm going to do everything I can to get to that point where, I don't have to worry about a plan B. But as I started to, I started my own business sophomore year of college, I started doing something different outside of hockey. And from that, I kind of explored things that I'd never explored before. I went places that I've never been. I met people that I would have never met through hockey. And I kind of found a passion for, just entrepreneurship in general, but a little bit more specific, a little bit away from hockey. And as my passion grew for stuff outside of hockey, my passion for hockey started to shrink a bit. So it was kind of difficult, going your entire life for one thing, and then realizing that, you know, when you're 2 years away from being able to leave college and start playing professionally, that's not even what you want to do anymore. I graduated not even wanting to play hockey anymore, and I was actually really excited when hockey was done, because it gave me the chance to have more freedom to do what I really like to do, which was completely different than what I grew up doing. I mean, hockey was everything to me. So your passions can also change. You know, whether you're 14, 25, or 40, you might be doing something right now that you love, and it might change. I think the biggest thing is just let your passion come to you, and you might be doing something that you're passionate about now and you don't even know it, and it just turns into a passion for you over time.
Most people don't know their options, like just simply don't know. It's like, oh, you know, I didn't even know that existed. Like when I heard about drop shipping at first, I thought it was like illegal. Like I literally thought it was illegal. Like it was Chase showed it to me. Too. Yeah, no, Chase showed it to me. We were in like Sherry's and I was like, bro, this has to be illegal, because it was Chase too. So I was like, this shit gotta be illegal. He showed me that shit, and then thought it was illegal, and I was even out there like trying to get business knowledge for like my whole life, and it like I never knew about it until then. And it's like, you know, if somebody's just not like out in business a lot or trying to get business knowledge like that, like there's no way you're gonna even know that shit exists, because like you definitely don't find that anywhere in school or in sports or in your friendships or in anything, because nobody, you know, around you usually finds that. And it's like education on it. If it was more mainstream like that, if people were actually talking about it as viable routes, it would be a lot better. But the sad part about the way that the society is going, and what it's not sad, because it's bound to happen in any society, but people are more so looking for a sense of just following each other versus a sense of like actually building their own thing or actually doing their own thing, because it's easier to follow, and we're told our whole lives to, you know, follow this, follow that, trust in this, trust in that, trust in the system, trust what you're told, trust what your friends say, your parents say. But it doesn't matter, because if you trust what they say, you might trust that person, they might be a trustworthy person, but they might have the wrong information. So it doesn't matter if it's your parent or not. If they have the wrong information, they could be telling you something they totally believe, but it could be completely false because they may be misinformed. Because I'd say 98% of the world is completely misinformed about the way money works and the way that you're supposed to actually do things, because a lot of people think the system's trying to get to them, the system's trying to, you know, screw them, the system's trying to, but it's not. The system's set up to work, but it requires us to work as individuals in order to run proficiently. All the studies show that like the most educated countries are always, you know, on top. Whoever has the best education is always the top country, because education, you know, it's like in war. Like it doesn't take the person who's, you know, the most violent to win a war. It takes the person who's willing to put up with the most pain, you know. Like it's all on, you know, education and mindset. And yeah, I think that's all really important stuff that we should be learning at a younger age for sure. All right, so I got a question for Nate. Nate does like video editing and stuff. I want to ask you kind of, what do you think about, because I feel like a lot of people like you know, the artistry space, like making music, video editing, like editing photos, taking photos, it's all like similar, right? It's all like a form of art and like expressing yourself through like the way you make your edits, the way your videos are. What do you think about doing something like that? What do you think made you attracted to, would you call that, first off, would you call that like a passion of yours? And then if so, what about that made you become passionate about it or find your passion in it, do you think?
Since day one, I've always been like fascinated by technology, and I was kind of like always into videography. I love watching music videos. Like that's all I watched on YouTube was just rap music videos, and I just liked all the crazy transitions, and I was like, damn, like that's crazy. Like I want to do that. Got into high school, and my mom, she's into graphic design, so she had all the Adobe stuff. So I logged into it one day and I threw some clips in there, and then I just started messing with it and just started editing and just like doing crazy effects. I just like fell in love with like being able to just create whatever you want, because I suck at art. Like if I draw, no, I can't do that. But like computer shit, I'm really like technical with. I'm pretty good at video editing. I like give props to all those people that do it full time, because sometimes you're working frame by frame and you're shooting at 60 frames per second, and it's like, sheesh, you know, that's a lot of work. So kind of drifted away from it, just, you know, with e-commerce and stuff. But something that I do want to get back into, but definitely have to brush up my skills a little bit. It's been a little while, but I love doing it for sure.
Yeah, that shit's dope. That's the reason I asked that is because like I feel like a lot of like people don't it's like such a creative type of thing, like video editing or doing stuff like that. And I feel like finding something that's like creative like that and a creative passion correlates to business so much, because like for me it was like music, and then like I liked music really young, and then like from music it was like, oh, business, because business could like fund and the music, and then I could do them both. And I found like a big passion in both of them. And it's weird how all passions really mix together. It's like it just creates one like big driving force. Like Simon was saying as well, and you were saying, like you could have multiple things all that you like and that you do and that you love, but it's all like one driving force, which is like you becoming the best you and leaving the best impression on this, you know, world that you can, you know.
Yeah, when you're like passion like clashes with business, that's like when like almost clarity comes into play. I got a question for Jeremy though. So I moved to Oregon like my freshman year. I didn't really know anybody, but I had, was it all 4 years in German class?
Yeah, bro. Definitely, bro. We definitely had all 4 years.
All 4 years I like sat next to you basically all 4 years in German. And you were always on your laptop working on that shit. Yeah. Working on e-commerce, and I had no idea what it was, but like you were working on it like all day.
I had this like chain store, and I would print it off business cards, and I would just walk around the mall and try to pitch people in person on like buying my chains from my drop shipping store.
Did you get people?
And then I had a chains that I bought from Amazon, like test products, right? So to get custom content. I didn't even know what I was doing, and I printed off these business cards with 15% off code on the back, and I would just go all day on the weekends, and I'd make like $60 a day. And I did this for like a week and a half, so not too long. So I would literally be putting business cards in the pockets of the jeans at H&M, so when somebody bought it from H&M, they'd think that the business card was an H&M recommendation. And so I'd get sales off of that as well. And I did it for like a week and a half anyways. And then I basically saved up like $5 or $250 or some shit, put a sticky bra on my website, and it was like a chain store. And I put a sticky bra on the website for, I don't know why, like it didn't fit the store at all, but I thought it was a viral product. I paid an influencer to post about it, spent all my money, and then like I was like, oh, I was doing the calculations in German because the shadow was going up in German, and I was doing the calculations, and I was like, you know, oh, if this percentage of this influencer's following buys, then I'm making this much. I thought it was going to be like a 5K day. So like I was like preparing to like just be like, fuck, I'm out of this bitch, like walking out of school and shit. And so I freaking, the shadow went up. There's like hella visitors on my store, hella visitors. It's like a bunch of like, it's like a lion head chain and then like a sticky bra. It like makes no sense, looks hella bad. I got one sale for $4.95 out of the whole shout out. So now it's pretty like down bad because I spent all my money, and I was kind of like, fuck. And so then I decided to start a women's clothing store, and that was Vulu. And I basically like had the Shopify free trial. Yeah, so I had like the Shopify free trial on that one. I had like $50 at the time left. And then I basically started the clothing store in art class and working on it in German and shit. And I was just like fully building that, trying to make it look dope. I put up like 150 or 200 products on it or something crazy in like 2 days. Like I like custom descriptions, like all that, like insane amount of fucking products. And I basically made an Instagram for it, and then this girl DM'd me from Lake Oswego out of all places, and like I wasn't even tied with the account at all personally, so it was like just randomly, but from Lake Oswego. She hits me up, she's like, can you add me an ambassador? I was like, what's that? And she's like, oh, you give me a 20% off or a discount code, and I basically shop at your store and then promote you guys in my bio by wearing your clothes. And I was like, all right, lit, here's your 20% off code. And she went and bought like $70 worth of stuff, and I got the order like when I was in the OC parking lot, like in like by the wrestling room, and I was like I shit my pants, bro. Like I swear my seat was brown, like bro, like it was no joke, it was crazy. Like I literally like tripped. I was like, what the fuck? Like I just gave this 20% off discount code, and like that shit got an order, so I was tripping. So I went home, I had another girl, went home kind of planned out. I was like, I'm gonna DM all the people who are following all these other women's clothing brands and ask them to be my ambassadors. So I started DMing girls. Later that night I got another sale for like $70 or 70 something, and totaled out to like 150 on the day. Went to Ross, bought a whiteboard, went back to my house, and I was doing math on the whiteboard, like 150 a day times like 30, and I was like, oh shit, I'm about to be making like 4 G's a month, like on some crazy shit. I was like, I'm about to be, and my girlfriend at the time was there. I was tripping. I was like, we're about to make like 4 G's a month, like we're about to be traveling, like it's gonna be nuts, like crazy. And then so I just literally started DMing all day long, and like that's the point in class when I just like stopped doing everything and just sending DMs. And I would like literally just send DMs all day, and it was like 50K gross before I ever got into like Facebook ads or anything, just out of the fucking DMs. All right, you guys, so with that being said, we're gonna play a question and a sentence. We each take turns asking a question, and the other person has one sentence to answer.
Most important part of your day?
The first 5 minutes after I wake up.
All right, you ask a question.
What's the first thing you think of when you wake up in the morning?
Oh, you gotta answer truthfully.
What am I gonna do today? That's so bad. No, I mean, there's no further explanation. Fuck.
No, all right. You asked me.
What's your favorite meal?
Dinner.
Oh, I meant like food. Oh, what's my favorite kind of food? That's a terrible
kind of
question.
food?
I suck at this game.
Probably like a tuna melt. All right, Carter. What's the weirdest thing you've swallowed?
It's a weird question. Probably a worm. I ate a worm when I was like in 4th grade to be cool at the park.
Did you swallow it whole?
We used to do this thing that used to be like, oh.
That's a run on.
We used to do the
No, he's got to ask me one again.
Oh, yeah. Most uncomfortable situation you've ever been in?
When I was 16, I was at the USA Hockey Camp in Buffalo. We were staying in apartments. There's about 900 people there. I was in the shower. The fire alarm went off in the building, and everyone started freaking out because there was an actual fire. It wasn't just an alarm going off. I had to leave the building in a towel wrapped around my waist with 900 other hockey players, some of the best hockey players in the country. Random people on a college campus, and I'm standing out in the parking lot with a towel wrapped around my waist with no clothes on, soaking wet right out of the shower. If you're stranded on an island, you have no way off, but you can bring 3 things with you. What 3 things are you bringing?
Some rope so I can connect some things. A container so I can harvest some water. And an axe so I can create and chop things. What is your biggest fear?
Being forgotten.
Woo! Sheesh! That was a good one.
It's my biggest fear.
All right, hit me with a question.
I got you. What's the weirdest thing you've ever touched with less than 1 pound of pressure?
What type of question is that? I don't even know what that means.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever touched?
At the beach, there's these little things that are attached to rocks, and if you touch them, they like suck your finger.
Oh. Talking about that.
I don't know what they're called.
Talking about the anemone.
The anemones. Yeah. I used to just think they were a cool name, like the enemies. The anemones or whatever they're called.
Period.
Favorite thing to touch? I can't answer that question on freaking camera. Dude, we can't let that clip play. The first question you asked me, you can't put that in there. Ask me a better question.
What's your favorite thing to feel and why?
I really like sand. Ask a better question.